Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Rough, Hugh McDonald and Tam McManus with us here on this Monday. We'll look back over the games at the weekend and the results, see how your team fared. We'll get your opinion on our Facebook. You can follow us and you can share the stream. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button now and you can join the football family moving forward as well. And thank you to everyone sticking by us and, of course, following us in great numbers across all our social media sites. So the weekend, Rangers continue their winning streak, and with that 2-1 win over Hibs, they're now very, very close to becoming invincibles. And of course, the other great thing about it is, don't forget, while we're talking about Rangers and Hibs, you can play the golden shot to see if you can actually get a shot away at Hugh as he moves across the screen and tries to get his camera back on track. Anyway, apart from anything else, Rangers 4 games from becoming invincible title winners, Roughie.
Yeah, they'll just keep motoring on. I do think Hibs should have taken something out of the game. I thought they played well in patches in that game. A couple of decisions never went their way. But apart from that, Rangers just keep churning out wins, and they're running out of teams now that are going to take this invincible thing away from them. But no, it's a 2-1 win. But, I thought it looked as if it was a good game.
Yeah, I mean, the goals were absolutely top drawer from Rangers again. Nice one from Naismith, Tam. Were they worthy of their 2-1 win in your mind? You'll be there watching the game.
No, I thought Hibs deserved something for the game, Peter. I'd agree with Roughie. I was there and I thought Hibs were excellent. I thought they pressed Rangers high up the pitch. They were brave. They played 2 up front the whole game. Started off with Nisbet and Doidge and then went with Nisbet and Boyle. And they got after Rangers at the back, and particularly Boyle down the right hand side, he gave Barisic a doon. I thought he gave him a right going over for 90 minutes. It's probably the toughest game Barisic has had all season. So I thought that Hibs deserved something from the game. As Roughie said, the decision for the goal that got chopped off, never a foul. Seen it at the time. Seen it back last night on social media, never ever a foul. So you can count Hibs, I think, a little bit unlucky. But as you said, Rangers, they just keep churning out wins. They've got that sign of champions. They didn't play particularly well, I didn't think, yesterday, but scored 2 fantastic goals. First one, Aribo, great technique, knee over the ball, ball bounces high, snaps his leg down and puts it in the bottom corner. And then obviously Ryan Kent's goal. Sometimes you've got to hold your hands out and say, this is a great goal. He cuts across on his weaker foot. Hibs are kind of showing him across the park away for goal, and he pings it in the bottom corner. It's a brilliant goal, and that was probably game over. But Hibs obviously got the goal back, great goal from Nisbet, and had a little push towards the end, but wasn't to be. But if Hibs play like that, Peter, for the rest of the split, I think they'll be fine for third place.
Yeah, well, the manager, Steven Gerrard, was raving about Kent's finish.
And Ryan's obviously scored a world-class goal. I think that's another contender for goal of the year. And then at 2-0, we're cruising, we're playing with style, we're looking good. But we never finished the second half well enough either. We become a little bit passive, a little bit complacent, and then we had a few complications at the end of the game. And against a good team like Hibs with good players, you can allow them to get back in the game, and we did that.
Yeah, you mentioned there was a goal that I thought was a perfectly good goal, Hugh, that Hibs were denied. I just could not spot an infringement in it.
No, I don't think. I mean, that'd be the one of these newspaper quizzes. Spot the infringement. Mark an X where you think the infringement occurred. It was just. I didn't see the game live. I only watched the highlights, and I knew there was a disallowed goal. And when that one came, I was really surprised at it. Yep. We're now saying that Rangers are, like 4 teams can deny them an invincible league season. I think probably we're down to 1, the Celtic. I don't see any other team at the moment challenging Rangers in terms of beating them.
Yeah, well, Hibs were hoping for a point. Jack Ross certainly thought that Ryan Porteous' goal should have stood.
As always, I get the opportunity to see it before I come and speak, and it's not a foul. And that's what that happens through the course of every single game. You get some decisions go for you, some don't. But if you're asking me if it's a foul, no, it's not a foul. I don't think anybody would think it's a foul watching. I think it's just body to body, and that happens at times in the game. So, as mentioned, fine moments fine margins and moments in the game, and that was obviously one of them.
Yeah, there was another little contentious point I'm going to get to. Tam, obviously, since you were present at the game, Martin Boyle, is he getting a wee bit of a reputation as a diver?
Yeah, I think that was why he got booked, Peter. Listen, I don't think it was a dive. I don't think he even claimed for a penalty. I think he just fell over. If he'd have claimed and turned around and started screaming at the referee, then I think the referee was within his rights to give him a yellow card. But I don't think he even claimed for it. I don't think anybody claimed for it. So I was surprised to see the yellow card come out. And I think you're right. I think it's because in the last 3 or 4 weeks, he has went down easily and he's got away with it. And I think the penalty up at Ross County wasn't a penalty and he got one. So maybe the referees are watching Martin much more carefully now, running in and about the box to see if he's going to fall over easily. But I thought he was a victim of circumstance yesterday with the last few weeks that he got a yellow card for that, because I don't think it was, but he was lucky not to get a yellow card and maybe a red card 3 or 4 weeks ago against Ross County, so maybe it evened itself out a wee bit.
Yeah, here's his take on it.
The referee said to me that I put my foot over him to try and get the ball, that's what I need to do. I mean, I can't just do it. And obviously I'd done that at Ross County and I won the penalty. I haven't seen it back, I don't know, but like I say, I didn't feel like it was enough to be a penalty, but it wasn't enough to be a dive. It wasn't a dive, it was obviously brushed aside, but...
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He's tried to explain it away. Although, Roughie, I have to say, as we say week in, week out, the essence of any professional footballer is quite simply how can they gain an advantage for their team. If they get the dive, their view, many a striker will tell you, is it's down to the referee to determine whether he's been conned or not. It's not for me to jump out of the way or try and stay in my feet. And you only have to look at what's been happening north and south of the border. With players who will use every trick in the book, Roughie.
Yeah, it seems to be the modern day thing now, that if you think there's a wee bit of contact or you think there's contact coming, you react to it, and I haven't watched that incident 2 or 3 times. I thought Golson was quite lucky. I thought it was a bit clumsy. And there was a wee bit of contact, but not enough for him to go down that way. I think that's probably why Golson got away with it. But if you look at it 3 or 4 times, he does come in rather clumsily. But he got away with it. But we don't like to see. I don't like to see it dive. I don't go along with Andy. I think it's Andy Walker that says, look, if you get a contact, you go down. It's your duty to your team. It's okay if there's slight contact, but when it's outrageous, it just looks silly.
Yeah, well, Rangers got the win, got 3 points, and again are marching on, hoping to go through the entire season without losing a game. Do you believe anybody could stop them? Give us your view on that. As far as Rangers players that they're able to call on, it looks as if Liam Balogun will not kick a ball for the rest of the season. He's pulled up in training. Ryan Jack still waiting for an overall assessment of the scan on his injury. And also we've got Tavernier that I don't think he's going to be risked for the Old Firm game. We're still waiting, of course, Tam, to see when the Old Firm Scottish Cup tie is going to be played due to, of course, the funeral for Prince Philip.
Yeah, listen, I hope the games go ahead next week, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But certainly Nathan Patterson is a very able deputy. I thought he did a good game yesterday. I thought it was a really good battle between him and Josh Doig down that side, 2 probably future Scottish internationals. Might be your 2 fullbacks in years to come. So really, really good battle between the 2 of them. So listen, I think Tavernier's a better player, but I think Patterson coming in is solid enough to play in that Old Firm game.
Yeah, and as far as the game itself is concerned, Steven Gerrard hoping they can get a quick decision. They've got quite a lot of time to prepare for it.
I think it's a game we're very much looking forward to. It's a mouth-watering tie. Both teams have got a week to prepare going into it. So there's certainly no excuses from that point of view. We'll have a day off tomorrow and then we'll get to work and give the lads the information and the game plan that we think can be successful on the day. But it'll be a tough tie. Obviously pleased that it's at home and we want to try and build on our home strong record. But we're certainly looking forward to it. But it would be nice to know when that's going to be.
Yeah, and I think just a confirmation of it just actually coming out. I think it's going to be 12 o'clock. The funeral itself is going to take place on Saturday at 3 o'clock. the SFA, all the other stakeholders are looking at the SPFL matches that will kick off at 12 noon. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case on the Sunday as well, Hugh, just to fall in line with everybody else.
Yep, I think they've already moved one game already, so I expect Rangers Celtic game to be moved as well, to avoid any overlapping with the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Rangers get the win over Hibernian, and I can tell you that we're waiting for absolute confirmation on the Cup. But I would imagine it looks as if it's going to be Sunday at 12 or various times around that on the Sunday. That's the league's games are certainly moved to 12 o'clock so far, but we're waiting on the absolute 100% confirmation on the Scottish Cup, but I don't think it's too far away. Elsewhere, Celtic thumped Livingston by 6-0. Roughie, it was just one of those days where it all seemed to click for Celtic.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that was James Forrest. James Forrest coming into the team. He looked to be back to his old self, and everybody round about him, just fed off everything he did. Again, Turnbull was very, very impressive. Elanusi as well. So yeah, I think I had 3-0 in the 3-0 in the prediction, but I didn't expect 6. But I can't see Livingston getting into Europe. I just don't think they're good enough to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, John Kennedy, well happy, said this big scoreline was coming.
I felt this coming for the last few weeks, especially going into the cup game. I thought it might be that game where we, scored a few goals and gave someone a bit of a hiding, But today was a great example of that in terms of putting a performance together and then being clinical at the top end. And going into next week, we have to win the game. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good confidence boost going into that cup game. The only worry, Hugh, is James Forrest, because he had a slight tightness in his hamstring, not the same injury as before, so that's a blessing.
Yeah, and hopefully it's just because it's top class actions maybe tested it a wee bit and challenged it. I mean, James Forrest, all through your career as a football writer, as a football fan, there's players, Peter, that only become really appreciated when they're not in the team. You spot them down the years. You go, what's up with Celtic? And you turn around to the say, well, one of the reasons I've looked at James Forrest, and people look at his, what is that? Forrest, if you Scott, if you talk about players of the decade for Celtic, when you talk about every decade as a Celtic player, we all know who would be 2000, the decade 2000 on Henrik Larsson. So that if you say the Celtic decade of 2010 to 2020, would obviously be Scott Brown. I mean, for his role as a captain and the repetitive strain injury he's got from lifting trophies. But James Forrest would be a very strong second. James Forrest is featured very heavily in that decade as well, Peter, and he's really instrumental to what how to break down somewhere like the Rangers who are very well coached, who offer space at times, who try to narrow the midfield. If you get somebody like James Forrest sitting out wide and moving at pace and guile with somebody, he's a big player, not only for Celtic. He can be a big player for Scotland in the summer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you'll have to look at his medal haul to find that out. And it's a great point you make, Hugh. Sometimes players are better when they're not playing or when they're on the bench. The amount of friends of mine when I was living in Edinburgh, Hibbies, who says, I can't believe Tam McManus is on the bench still. He's just a fabulous player. But then, you never get a chance to judge Tam, do you?
I was a super sub. I was always better when I was injured, by the way. My reputation went through the roof.
Oh dear, listen, you do yourself a great injustice, my man. As far as Livingston are concerned, they're a hard watch. I mean, they didn't really threaten, didn't lay a glove on Celtic on Saturday. I was watching that game. And as far as the performance is concerned, I don't think David Martindale was too happy with what he was delivered.
Felt there was a wee bit of an acceptance out there, but accepted that, and that's not what I want for my players. It's not what I want for my team. So we need to work on that. But on the flip side, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I did think Celtic were fantastic today. Obviously, we allowed Celtic to be fantastic, but I do think Celtic popped the ball really well, and there was a hunger and an appetite for Celtic.
Yeah, okay. So I think when you look overall at the season, I don't think David Martindale will be too unhappy with what his team have delivered over the course of the season. They've certainly exceeded many people's expectations. You can give your view on that. Elsewhere in the battle for the drop, to avoid the drop, to avoid the playoff place, Killie against Ross County. I thought Killie were at least going to get me some points, Roughie, but in the end, there was a last gasp equaliser from Ross County to annoy the life out of me.
Yeah, they battled away. You know, that I thought Kilmarnock were going to run out easy winners with them scoring so early. But you're right, you know, Ross County did dig in and got a point out, and every point now they pick up in that bottom six is going to be crucial. You know, I know there's only 2 points in it, but you need draws are no good to you. You know, you need to get that 3 points. It's going to just give you that bit of breathing space, and these three haven't done it yet. So it'll be the first one it bites. Will probably get a stay of execution.
Yeah, just when you think you're getting a grip in the game, Hugh, you know things are not going your way when Billy Mackay wins a header in the air against your defender. He wins a header in the air against your defender, and Michael Gardine scores the goal.
Yep, and not the way it had been coached at Ross County either, a ball into the air and down. But I think, like Roughie says, I mean, it's so narrow down there. Since the beginning of the season, I've thought Hamilton Accies would go down, but my views have changed. My opinion has been slightly altered. Over the ups and downs of the season. I still think Accies are favourites for the drop, Peter, but as Roughie said, a couple of victories, and remember, they're all playing each other. It's not as if, they're going to Celtic Park or Ibrox looking for a victory. It's dog eat dog. So a couple of wins could could just flip that on its tail. I wonder as well. I think there's. I'm just wondering what the playoff position would be like and who falls into that, and how much they might be fancy playing against a Wraith Rovers, or even if a team with a resurgent run in the championship as well. So you're not totally safe if you're 11th either.
Yeah, well, it ended 2-2. Tommy Wright still able to take some positives from the performance.
It's probably one of our poorer ones, and the players, they know that they're in the dressing room, discussing that. But we still scored 2 goals. But if we do the basics well, we come away with a 2-0 and not, patting ourselves in the back because we've not played particularly well.
Yeah, Tam, I think if Tommy Wright, in one of his quieter moments, he'd probably be looking and thinking to himself, I wish I'd longer and a major, tilt at the old transfer window to try and shift something about. He's had to deal with, being unable to bring in as many as he would have liked and inherited players that are just not good enough.
Yeah, he came in at an awkward time, Peter. He never had that, real opportunity to go and bring his own players in. Obviously, the big one was Kyle Lafferty, who was a free, who they signed outside the window, which was fine. But he's obviously gave them a lift, and I think if it wasn't for Lafferty down there, I think they'd probably be bottom. I think his goals and the overall performances have gave them a massive lift. But as you said, there's only 3 points. I think Hamilton Accies now for me. I love Chipper, and but I think Hamilton are going to go this season. I think it's very, very difficult now because I've been down there myself with a couple of clubs, and the big games are the ones against Dundee United, Motherwell and St Mirren now, who are safe, and they're the ones that you're looking to beat, because there's no doubt for me that they will. Some of the teams will down tools. They'll be looking to the summer now. I was going to say go away on holiday, but a staycation probably. But you get that when teams are safe in that bottom six, the intensity goes out of them, and that's the games that you've got to target to try and win. And those will be the big games coming up. Ross County v likes of St Mirren, teams like that. Hamilton v Motherwell. That's the games where you've got to target to try and win. And Hamilton, I think, need to win 2 or 3 games now out of the last 4 to stay up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at every point that anybody picks up. Even John Hughes yesterday mentioned the fact, listen, it was a draw, but at least they're in a better position.
Got 1, take the point, keeps us in front of Kilmarnock, all to play for. What I've seen, and you guys, probably no great game of football, but exciting. And I've seen a team that are battling to try and stay in the league, so absolutely delighted for them.
Yeah, that's the way everybody's looking at it. If you've got those points in the bag, then at least you've got your nose in front. But can Ross County escape it? Will it be Kilmarnock, Hamilton, Accies? Who's going down? Who's going in the playoff? Give us your view on that. Hugh Scott says, Peter, the playoffs are stacked in favour of the Premiership team. Only 2 games to play, while the Championship teams have to play 4 or maybe even 6. How is that fair? Well, Hugh... of course, if you're looking for sporting integrity, Scottish football, Hugh MacDonald is the last place you want to look.
Absolutely, and it's the old thing that we always talk about, Peter, on this show. It's the golden rule. Them that has the gold makes the rules, and the rule the rule was to seed the notion of a playoff, right, but also load it heavily in favour of the Premiership clubs, and that's what's happened. I think a few years ago it was at Falkirk. Falkirk just literally ran out of steam one year. They went to Rugby Park and just got rolled over. Just fell to pieces. I mean, it is that's the way it is. There's very few teams that have managed to buck the odds in that system, and I think Hibs under Terry Butcher, for various reasons, they were easy pickings that year. But I still think it's a chance, Peter. The lad's right. It is loaded heavily in favour of the Premiership clubs. But what you can have is the Championship club coming in on the back of obviously very good results, going against a Premiership club that's obviously had very poor results, and it's then there is a chance, but history shows it's a pretty slim one.
Peter,
yeah, absolutely.
Peter, I think you need to finish second in the Championship. As Hugh said there, if you're playing 6 games, if you're 6 and it's in a short space of time, it's like Saturday, Wednesday, and then you've got to get through those 4 games, and then you've got to come up against a Premier League team who's been sitting resting. Been able to rest players in the playoffs. So I think finishing second in the Championship is massive, whether that be Raith Rovers or Dundee. I think that gives you a chance. I think if you finish 3rd or 4th in the Championship, very, very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It is stacked. And Hugh Scott, like so many of us, have looked at it over the course of the year since it was introduced, and thought it was heavily favouring the Premiership sides. But listen, if you're looking for anything to kind of cut some slack on teams in the Championship, League One and League Two, this is not the country to look for any kind of compassion whatsoever. It doesn't exist. If you were unlucky enough, can you imagine winning a competition to go and see St Johnstone Aberdeen at the weekend? I was thinking about it and I thought, wow, even if you were a reporter, how unlucky would you be to have to go and cover that game? 2 teams, well, one team that at least I think will look back in their season with a fair amount of pride, that is St Johnstone, against another team that struggled to score. And lo and behold, Johnny Hayes comes up with a winner, Tam. Unbelievable.
Done all your bets in it. We all went for St Johnstone, I think, and I didn't see Aberdeen winning the game, but fair play. Defended well, nicked a goal, and it's put a little bit of pressure onto Hibs. A lot of Hibs fans would have been wanting St Johnstone to win that game, or at least draw. But Aberdeen have gave themselves a little glimmer by getting the win. Gap's now 4 points, albeit it's 11 goals goal difference. So great result for Aberdeen and keeps them in there with a wee sniff. But by all accounts, it wasn't a great game, and none of us were expecting that to be a great game. I think there was a few 0-0s and 1-0s in the predictor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. You're right, Tam. What are you laughing at, Roughie?
He's just talking about himself. He's just talking about himself because he had a rotten weekend.
Yeah. I'm looking at Aberdeen and Stephen Glass. Obviously, by the time he gets a chance to sit down and see them really close up, will realise he's got a major rebuilding job. But again, I think we've mentioned on here from time to time, Roughie, we're quite excited about the prospect of Aberdeen and the changes that are coming from them. It'll be interesting to see I can't wait to see the calibre of player he tries to sign. I'm not too sure there was too many other candidates. I think he was I think he was always going to be the choice of Dave Cormack, but I'll be interested to see the calibre of player, the style of football that he's going to try and play.
Yeah, I think every Aberdeen supporter will be waiting to see. Obviously, they know they've got Scott Brown, but they'll be waiting to see what kind of player he's going to bring in. Is he going to tap into the American market? Does he see anybody there that's above the quality that he's got in the Aberdeen side? So there'll be exciting signings, I think. I know there's not going to be a lot of money to throw about, but I think he's got the knowledge to bring in better players. And certainly, I think early, I've said it before, I think apart from Rangers and Celtic, the rest of the league, and maybe apart from Hibs, there's been no challenge whatsoever. And I think in our league, because Rangers and Celtic are so dominant, we need a good Hibs team. We need a good Aberdeen team. We need when Rangers and Celtic come to them or they go to theirs, that they put up a good display, and it makes it a lot more exciting. Because I know it's the Rangers supporters will not be worrying about winning by 30 odd points, but for everybody else, it's better if it's a really tight league and it's exciting right to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Roughie. But there are a number of things that, I think we are in this country now, Hugh, at the point where we don't bother actually mentioning them anymore because it doesn't go anywhere. Nobody's listening. And I think the size of the league prohibits anyone from... I often look at teams, I think, go out there and have a go at Celtic and Rangers. Just have a go at them. Try and come up with a plan that is, get right into them. But the league doesn't favour that. The league is set up to try and avoid relegation. And the other 2 or 3 teams that have that peace of mind knowing they're not going to be there, they can not worry about relegation. But the other 7 or 8 start off the season thinking, right, we have to negatively watch what we do here.
Yeah, that's true, Peter, absolutely true. But the other thing that's really true as well is the gulf in quality between the teams. Now, Celtic and Rangers and the rest, it's 30 years since a team outside Celtic and Rangers came close to winning the league. That was in 1991 when Aberdeen went down to Ibrox, needing to avoid defeat to win the league. That was a Rangers team that had likes of Mark Haitley in it. There was injuries, but Mark Walters, Mo Johnston, players like that. But the Aberdeen side, Peter, this is 30 years ago. Maybe some of the younger viewers don't know this, but certainly some of the older viewers will know the quality of the Aberdeen team would have. Snelders was out injured, crucially, in goals, but had people like Ian Jess in the team, Scott Booth, who was to go on to play for Borussia Dortmund, Hans Hielhaus, Jim Bett, Alec McLeish, Stuart McKimmie. Now, that's just not happening now, Peter. That quality of player in the teams below Celtic Rangers just isn't there. If you look at Hibs this season, the quality of player that they'll have, there's probably 3 standout youngsters, Porteous, Doig and Nisbet. But Hibs can't build a team around that because they know that in the summer, 1 or maybe 2 will have gone, and then the next summer the 3rd will have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, somebody just sent me a message about a tweet that's been released, Tam. I don't know if it'll affect us in any capacity whatsoever. We are delighted, I think it's on the Aberdeen tweet that says we're delighted to open up bookings for Christmas parties at Pittodrie from December. So that's quite good news. Clearly Aberdeen are getting ready for everybody to out. I think that could be, would we be happy with our Christmas party at Pittodrie, Tam? Could we go there?
Oh, we take it in Mars. Take it in. Get it.
Absolutely. As soon as I spotted that there, I thought, well done, Cheryl. That's where we're going for our Christmas party. Yeah, absolutely. First place. It's a stay over as well, Roughie. It's going to be fantastic. But anyway, apart from anything else, I tell you, I feel sorry for Chipper. I know Tam mentioned it there, Roughie, but Hamilton Accies had the best of the chances against Dundee United, still lost the match.
Yeah, we witnessed Dundee United. I think they're a poor Dundee United. I know the manager can talk them up as much as they like, but they're not playing good football. And they've got good players. They're just not doing it. Obviously, it was a mistake for the goalkeeper, they caused the goal. But, to get back to what we were saying just 10 minutes ago, Hamilton, I don't know the fixtures or what's left, but he'll be sitting there looking at them and going, 2 wins and we'll be safe, because nobody else is capable of winning two wins in a trot. So that's what they'll be looking for.
Yeah, well, 10 days from now, Hamilton take on Motherwell. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what they come up with there. Motherwell, of course, edging it by, I wouldn't say it was a fortuitous goal. Certainly the keeper made a hash of it. And Motherwell were able to take full advantage and get the solitary goal and the solitary 3 points, Tam, against St Mirren.
Yeah, great result for Motherwell, and I think that seems safe now. We spoke about it last week. I think they needed probably one more win just to relax a little bit, and it just depends to be seen how much they relax. Do they keep the foot down to the end of the season, or are they starting to look towards the summer and their holidays? So that'll be a big game. Hamilton have been Motherwell, and Hamilton have had a great record against Motherwell recently. They've defeated them a few times, so that's a game that Hamilton will be desperate to win, and the pressure will be off Motherwell. So it just depends what Motherwell team kind of turns up on the day, but huge win for Motherwell. That seems safe.
Yeah, here's how the table looks at the moment. I think quite a lot of our panellists right across the board are looking at Hamilton and thinking they will be the team to go down. I'm sure Brian Rice will battle away, and it won't be the first time that they've confounded the critics, and they might do it again this season. Kilmarnock and Ross County in the battle, and as Tam said, from Motherwell upwards, all those teams can start thinking about next season. Will some of them actually just shut down mentally and out on that park? Only time will tell. So that's the table and how it looks. But what about the team of the week? We've only got maybe 4 other teams of the week to come. Here's how Gabriel picked his 11 this week.
Benjamin Siegrist made 6 saves against Hamilton to earn United all 3 points. Nathan Patterson is growing every game and won the battle with fellow teenager Josh Doig. Philippe Hollander was Rangers' best player, winning duels with Kevin Nisbet and Christian Doig. Chris Ayer kept a clean sheet and stepped out of defence to assist the 5th Celtic goal. Johnny Hayes made the difference against St Johnstone and showed he still has plenty in the tank. Doyle Hayes was excellent for St Mirren in the middle, and he did not deserve to be on the losing side. James Forrest has 2 and 2 now, and he gives the Hoops something different going forward that's been missing all season. Mohamed El Yunusi scored 2 brilliant finishes and now has 17 in all competitions. Niall McGinn created plenty of chances with his excellent crossing ability. Ryan Kent worked hard all game and scored the Gers second, which Stephen Gerrard called world class. Chris Long harried up front for Motherwell, and his hard work helped break the deadlock.
Tam, I know you like to give Gabriel pelters, so you might as well just steam in now. Get your studs in there. What's happening?
Right. You obviously never watched the Hibs game yesterday, because Ryan Porteous was outstanding. I can't believe he's not on the team. He was brilliant yesterday. Martin Boyle terrorised Barisic, and he's not on the team.
Yep.
He's got 2 Aberdeen players in there. Somebody's
you're not having
a gig up in Aberdeen. No. Terrible team, Gabs. No. Sorry. I'll text you later, mate.
Yep. Well, to be honest with you, he's only had maybe 1 or 2 that have suffered the wrath of your tongue, Tam, and this is another one clearly that he's getting an absolute battering on. But every now and then he comes up with the golden 11, but not today. Anyway, you can give us your thoughts on Gabriel's team of the week. What about the head-to-head? It's getting close, Hugh, because somebody is going to have to buy an expensive bottle of wine. Somebody is going to have to buy a fantastic meal out. One of our viewers there's just saying, remember, you can actually eat out in the pubs if they've got the garden outside. But I think we're going to hang on a wee bit longer so that we can go inside and get a nice meal and a nice bottle of wine in beautiful surroundings. But who's going to be picking up the tab? Here's how the state of play looks in the head-to-head. And as you can see, 284, 289 and 282. This is what you call
many points did Roughie get this weekend?
Race. Well, Roughie.
9.
Roughie is back.
9.
Roughie is back in it. Tam, you've only got 5 of a lead now. You could lose this. You could lose it.
Actually, I need to get back and check these predictions. I can't believe Roughie's that close to me. I was miles ahead of him. Cheryl's got a backhander after Roughie.
Give us a score. Give us a scores again.
No.
Peter, what have you
right,
got?
I've got 284. Tam's got 289, and you've got 282. So it's close. It's absolutely close, to be perfectly honest with you. I cannot wait to see where we're going. It's getting, I don't know about you, Hugh, but I just get the feeling that, we're all going to be out, hopefully, back in the studio. I'd love to see you all here in the studio as well. I can see it in the summer, Hugh.
I hope so. I tell you, I really miss the studio because for various reasons, but they just, the sheer atmosphere and the laughs, and going out for a meal now just seems something really odd. Do you know? So I just like, it really seems. What do you do and where to go? Somebody was talking to me from London yesterday, Peter. I was talking to an agent and he was going, he said, I'm just going on a flight to get out. And I just sat and thought, see all that stuff about going to an airport, queuing up and going through security, getting on a plane? Oh, it seems very kind of weird now. And it was something that we all did. I mean, you know what I was like for travelling. I could be away twice a month. Never mind twice a weekend sometimes. I thought that. So it's all very weird at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugh Scott, I think, has summed it up perfectly. He says, Peter, if Roughie doesn't win, that'll be part of the conspiracy against Partick Thistle again. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. There's always something that he comes up with that denies him the win, as if there's been somebody else colluding against him. But this is all fair. It's above board. Tam has been out in front. I've been out in front for a while. I thought I was actually going to romp it, but Tam came back and he's got his nose in front as well. It's all a bit of fun and certainly enjoying trying to predict some of the scores. We've had a few shockers along the way, but that's how it looks as far as the pundits are concerned. Well done to Hearts, the Jambos, champions in the championship. But such is the nature of the madness of Scottish football, Hugh. The Hearts fans want the trophy placed in the stand. They don't want anybody picking it up because of the skullduggery of last season. They don't want to celebrate being booted into the championship in the first place. But nevertheless, they are champions.
And that's the bottom line, I mean, from any point of view, Hearts' remit was to get back up. There'll be very muted celebrations, not just because of the politics involved, but also the football has been involved. Hearts fans are not happy with the way Hearts have played this season, and I think they've got every right to be. I mean, there's a lot of people. There is this theory, they got up, so that forgives everything. I don't agree with that. I think there's been really worrying signs in them getting up. I mean, the idea of them getting up, it was. I mean, Hearts can. I think the other week there I was looking at it, they had 4 internationals on the bench. So Hearts getting up is a given. I think, fans are quite right to be disgusted at going out to the Cup to Alloa and to Brora as well, and I think they have every right to ask questions of how the club's been run and how many players have been brought in, etc., etc., etc. But as you say, Peter, they're up. It's another season. They've got a long summer where they can look at what they want and what they don't want. But one way or another, it'll be another great exodus and influx of players, I think.
Yeah, and if they feel they've been wronged, it's always nice to have a statement come out from the SPFL Chief Executive, Neil Doncaster, to congratulate them. As Hearts are confirmed winners of the Scottish Championship, I'd like to warmly congratulate the club's players, management team and directors on their achievement. It's a fantastic accomplishment and they are undoubtedly deserving champions. While Hearts have now sealed promotion, there remains plenty to play for in the division, with playoff spots still very much up for grabs, and of course relegation still to be decided. Only 11 points separate second and ninth position in the table, so we can look forward to an exciting conclusion to the season. Only Neil Doncaster, Tam, could paint such an exciting finish in that way. Well done to Hearts, because we absolutely hit you over the head with a baseball bat and relegated you.
Honestly, that's a joke. That statement. I'm sure the people at Hearts will be raging at reading that. As you said, they've absolutely hung them out to dry last year, and now they're sending them well done. I'm sure that'll be with a pinch of salt in taking that at Hearts. But listen, congratulations to Hearts. As you said, they've done the job. They won the league. That was a prerogative at the start of the season. They've not done it in style, but at the end of the day, they've done it, and they'll be looking forward to the Premiership next year.
And it's a strange thing, Roughie. And again, listen, we can call it as we see it. Some people are pro Robbie Nielsen, some people against him. The Hearts fans are the most important. Quite a lot of them don't want to see him there, but he's there. And I think it's going to be another one of those difficult conundrums for Anne Budge and that Hearts board, which is quite simply, he's won the league. That was the remit. So he's got to be in place for next season.
Yeah, and again, he'll be judged next season. He'll be judged in the players that he tries to move out, or the players he tries to bring in. And then when the games start, the results will be harder to come by. And any games that he doesn't win, it looks as if that element of support that don't want him there will just jump on the bandwagon. So he knows it's up to him to get a winning side on the park. And I'm sure that's what they'll all try to do. It's a fantastic club with a fantastic support. You know, I'm not having a go at Ross County and Hamilton Accies, but Hearts bring so much to the table, you know, in the Premiership to everybody financially. And everybody says, oh, it's a stadium I want to play in, it's this and it's that. So well done to them. I think you do miss, you know, a club of that magnitude.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to pick up on that, Hugh, but that's Roughie in a thinly veiled swipe at meritocracy.
Yeah, I always love when people say no disrespect to a team or nothing against a team. It's like,
and then bang, the night in.
Yes. Like,
and by the way, your stadium's not big enough. And your stadium's not big enough, and you haven't got enough fans, so we don't want you there.
I'll tell you what. I'll go a bit further. I would like to see the two teams for the Premiership get relegated, and then they can realise when they come to another vote what they're missing when they are not in that Premiership and they're in that First Division. Then they'll get a realise, you know, financially, you know, what they're missing, and then when it comes to a vote the next time, they might be a wee bit more sensible and vote for more teams to come into that division.
I think you're looking for utopia, Roughie. You need to get a grip of yourself. You know, you need to follow the last 30 years. Exactly. Exactly, Tom. You're right there. Let's just follow the plan the way it is at the moment, Roughie, which is greedy, self-interest, and if anybody wants to move or change the system, backstab them. It's as simple as that.
See, before you move, Peter, before you move on, I know we got a late statement on Friday. Is there any addition to the Kelty Hearts Brora thing? Is that still up in the air? Is it still?
No, we're still waiting on it, Roughie. We're still waiting to see if they're going to be allowed any sort of playoff. I mean, that I think is going to be determined shortly. What they'll probably do is wait till the last week and say, look, there's not enough time to turn it around. Sorry, you're not coming in. But nevertheless, I'm looking here at one positive, which is, you know, maybe there is an outside chance, Hugh, that Scotland might get some extra Euro 2020 games. Just basically because I think some other FAs, notably the Italians, might not be able to give, assurances to UEFA within their deadline.
Yeah, there was a problem with the Munich as well. You know, the Germans are still, I would say hesitating as well. So there's a problem there. Yeah, there is a chance of more games. I'm just really. I was writing a piece about the Euros the other day there, Peter. And they just came to me, you know, the full force of it came to me. You know, Scotland playing the Czech Republic to start it all off at Hampden, and what we're talking about now, maybe 10, 12,000 in the stadium. Imagine what it'd be like in the build up to that with, you know, a full stadium, and then going down to Wembley and then coming back up to Hampden. You can imagine what the city would be like with travelling fans, and it was quite a sadness when it really hit me that, you know, here we are, you know, on the cusp of a historic tournament in terms of Scotland. That's going to be played in our backyard. The games are going to be played in our backyard, and there's going to be something missing, and the something missing is the travelling fan and the fan inside the stadium.
Yeah, that's the pain of it all, really, and I think it would be. I mean, the whole of Glasgow would be buzzing with so many people coming from all across the country and elsewhere if we had been in normal times and circumstances. But it's just not to be. I'll tell you, when you're picking teams, we always have a joke about playing in ideal 11-a-side teams or great 5-a-side teams. I don't know about you, Tam, but I'd have Edison Cavani in my 5-a-side team every week. He is absolutely magnificent. He's the type of striker that I love. His movement, his touch, his finishing. He's just a joy. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him against Tottenham yesterday.
Yeah, he's a top player, Peter. He's a goal scorer. You know, he doesn't really take part in the link-up play. You know, when the ball goes wide, he gets himself in the box, and as you said, he's always one step ahead. The defender, his movement, whether that's coming short and spinning long or getting across people in the box, double movements. He's brilliant for any young striker to watch. You know, you'd recommend if you're any kids or anything like that, watch Edison Cavani. Watch his movement when the ball's wide. He's always on the move. He's never standing still. And as you said, he's scored goals wherever he's been throughout his career, whether that's with PSG or with Uruguay. He's a top footballer, and he's been a brilliant signing for Man United.
Yeah, we started off at the top end of this programme, Hugh, talking about diving and players and their feigning injury. And yesterday was a classic example, which has implications right across football globally. Heung-min Son. It looked as if there was a sniper somewhere in the stand when Scott McTominay just tries to get his balance. I mean, how that goal was disallowed for Cavani, I will never know.
I agree, but I'm on the side. I think nowadays, people trying to win little fouls is so important in a game now. It can change games right round the way, particularly if you win a foul on the edge of the 18-yard box. We're not even talking about penalties, but if you win that little foul in the 18-yard box, and I think what's getting punished, if defenders sometimes, Peter, I'm not talking about McTominay in this case, but sometimes defenders can be that little bit clumsy. And see when good play, any professional footballer knows when his opposition player has just been caught out that little 5%, that he's just got him, and that's what leads to going down. But Soon was all over the place yesterday. Interesting. I don't know if you heard Peter's his interview after the match, but he was absolutely crushed after the match. That's a club. It's an interesting club this summer, Peter, because Soon looked really crushed by things. It's another season. I know they're in a cup final, but it's against Man City. So but it's another season that Spurs are rolling by with Harry Kane and Soon, and we know what's happened to Dele Alli and others. I wouldn't say it's the happiest ship in the world, and it might be an interesting summer at Tottenham.
Yeah, and of course, after match interviews, I love them, Roughie, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said if he had his own son had feigned injury the way Heung-min Son had feigned injury, he wouldn't have given him any food for the foreseeable future. He'd have denied him his dinner. To which good old Jose Mourinho, always good with a comment, decided to fire back at the Man United manager.
Sonny is very lucky that his father is a better person than Ole. Because I think I am a father, I think a father, you have always to feed your kids, doesn't matter what they do. If you have to steal to feed your kids, you steal. I'm very, very disappointed. And because with me, like we say in Portugal, bread is bread and cheese is cheese, I told already Ole what I think about his comments.
Well, there you are. That's magnificent, because I would say that the views of Jose Mourinho are not necessarily the views of PLZ Soccer and the Football Show, but it just shows you, if you need to steal, you need to steal, according to Jose. He was trying to fire back, Roughie, but listen, you can understand why Solskjaer and so many managers, I watch you here in Scotland, players rolling over as if they've been absolutely banjoed with a baseball bat, battered about, feigning injury, wasting time. It would do your head in at times.
Yeah, it's modern day. That's the way they are. But the feigning it is just it looks so stupid, and you wonder what the players themselves are saying to themselves after it. How stupid did I look there? But I wouldn't think half of them would do that. They just got on with it. It's just the way of the world just now. But the people I'd be worrying about would be all these kids in the house when they heard them saying if they're out of order, they're not getting fed. They'll be hiding in the bedroom.
Yeah,
But
Tam,
Peter,
have you ever feigned? Yeah, have you ever
Peter,
feigned injury,
just
Tam?
jump.
Jump in, Hugh.
Well, I just think, like, see the feigning injury and those comments about not feeding kids. They're a godsend to Jose Mourinho in a press conference. An absolute godsend.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just sitting and talking about diving and food and stealing and things like that. And his time's just been cowed 3-1 and not going to get anywhere near a Champions League place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's an absolute joy. Stuart Carruthers, I think, sums it up brilliantly, because that's the type of thing when Hugh and I go into a press conference, as soon as somebody says something like that, we're all over it, And Stuart says, yep, bread is bread and cheese is cheese. No arguments there. I agree with you, Stuart. That's the type of thing. But as soon as you can tell sometimes when a manager comes in, we all just... Yeah, dancer. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. We've had a few of them this season in Scotland. Tam, I was going to ask you there: have you ever feigned injury? Have you ever gone over as if you've been really hit a dull one, but you haven't really? Have you cheated, Tam?
Yeah, I probably have. To be honest, but I've never. I've embellished contact, if that's what you're asking. If it's in the penalty box and I've been clipped, then I'm going down. I tend to agree with Andy Walker, because I remember as a kid, I was just coming into the team at Hibs and Alec McLeish was the manager. We played Dunfermline away, and Scott Thompson, the centre half for Dunfermline, tried to half me in two in the box, and I stayed on my feet instead of going down for a cert penalty. And McLeish absolutely bollocked me at half time. Honestly, says, next time anybody clips you in the box, you go down. So I think that stuck with me the rest of my career. Anytime anybody breathed on me in the box, I went down. So no, I definitely embellished contact a few times, but I've never rolled about feigning injury, as in son yesterday. I wouldn't do that, but certainly contact. You've got to go down in the box if you're clipped.
Yeah, Hugh. What about Kieran Tierney? Looks as if he's going to miss the rest of the season. That's a blow for us.
Yeah. That could be. It looks bad news. I mean, it's almost Arteta saying it's almost certainly misses the end. Every Arsenal game. Does he get back in time for Czech Republic at Hampden? Let's hope so. I mean, Tierney, he's been so badly treated by injury, hasn't he, Peter? But he's such a gifted footballer, and he can play. For Scotland, he can play anywhere, left-sided centre-back, left side of a three and left back, sometimes all at the same time if you're playing the Faroe Islands. So he would be a huge miss. I mean, I know we could compensate and, shuffle around. We've got a great left back in Andy Robertson. I'm just wondering if I don't know, Tam, you've seen more of him. I'm just wondering if that happens, does Doig get a sniff at the senior squad? Is that too early for him?
Yeah, I think that's too early for him. But certainly in the future, I think he's a stick on to be in the Scotland squad. But I think probably under 21s would be kind of his level. I don't know who else you got left back. Barry Douglas, is he at Blackburn? He's probably maybe looking.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we've got a plethora of left backs, to be perfectly honest with you. If I've never known a country like ours, we are firing them out at the moment. Hickey, Doig,
hopefully they don't want a left back. Hopefully we're good enough to have a back three and we can push somebody into midfield. It's a centre half. It means it's the pressure on the centre half now, because that's where Tierney was playing. So if he's out of that, the manager's going to have to find another left-sided centre half.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Taylor's another one that comes into mind. There's more than a few quality left backs, but it's the centre half position. I think you're absolutely right, Roughie. We're still waiting. Undoubtedly, it might come in the next few hours, or it might come tomorrow on the decision on the exact timing of the Scottish Cup game between Rangers and Celtic. We'll debate that, discuss it on tomorrow's show. So thanks very much to Hugh, Tam and Roughie as well. Don't forget, on our Facebook page, you can hit the follow and share the stream as ever and join our football family. And on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button as well. So with that in mind, the only thing I have to say to you is thank you very much for watching the show. I leave you tonight dedicating this show to my old English teacher, John White, who sadly passed away at the weekend at the age of 99. Without him, this would not have been possible for me today. He was the best of the best. He was an absolute gem of a man, a great teacher. His favourite player was Tommy Burns. He was a wise man. This one's for him.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit Arnold Clark